Hi, my name is Kyle Whitgrove. I'm the customer experience manager at the bookstore. And I'm happy to be here with Barbara Giuliani today, who is the vice president and editorial director at New Growth Press. And Barbara, I thought maybe we could just start with if you could let us know a little bit about New Growth Press, and then what are your three favorite books so far in 2020?
So, New Growth Press started in with publishing with CCF. So that's kind of how we got our start about 12 years ago. And like them, we really just want to connect the good news of the gospel to people's lives. And we notice, I notice that we have our understanding of the gospel here and our lives here, and sometimes they run on parallel tracks. And what we aim to do with our books, our resources, mini books, small group resources, children's books, is to move those tracks together so that we can walk with Jesus. So it's a little hard to pick my three favorite books of 2020. I might have snuck a couple more in here. But one thing that I've been thinking about a lot is biblical counseling and children. Just seems to be an area that hasn't been addressed in a full orbed way, and people are just starting to think about it now. So we have a couple books that aim to help counselors counsel children. The first one I want to show you is by Julie Lowe, who is a faculty member at CCEF. This builds on her book Childproof, which is really sort of the theoretical background to this. But this book, which I think everyone I talk to about it is so excited, takes her 20 years of actual counseling experience, in particular using expressive activities in a biblical way to help children understand themselves, to help her understand children, and then connect the scripture to their real problems. I just wanted to show you one. So, in the back of this book, she has all those activities actually um, on reproducible pages. And when you get the book, you can reproduce them. And there's also a link on our website that you can get ones if you want to make them bigger. She suggests poster size for some of them. I just thought I would show you this one. It's called Taking Thoughts Captive. And it talks to children about their thoughts being like a fly buzzing around their head. And then it helps them to say, here's the fly, here's what God says, here's what my little fly says, here's what God says, and then to go on to the next fly. So it's very simple, but not something I would have thought of.
Hmm.
The other book that we are publishing this year, both of these books are, this is available now, and Building Bridges will be available in a couple weeks. Um, is Caring for the Souls of Children, and this is edited by Amy Baker. And this resource pulls together biblical counselors from a wide array of them and has them talk about specific problems that children struggle with. So you'll hear from Julie Lowe, Mike Emlett, Ed Welch, Jonathan Holmes, Amy Baker, Garrett Higby, Bob Kellerman, and really quite a few others. And each chapter deals with a specific issue and talks about how to counsel in that issue, and then has a section for parents at the end of each chapter. And the issues are things like anxiety, anger, abuse, suicide, self harm, grief, shame, disability, disease, sexual identity, and really of a lot of other ones. So I don't think there's anything like this. I don't think there's anything like either one of these books. So I'm just so thankful and privileged to be able to publish them and just equip folks to help children. Um, so those are two. And here's where I'm cheating a little bit. And and I'm gonna highlight a series next for my third book.
That's okay.
So um, This these are our three new entries in the Good News for Little Hearts series. We have Caspian Crashes the Party When You're Jealous by Ed Welch. Buster Tries to Bail When You Are Stressed by David and Nan Powlison. Nan did the editing on this. It's based on one of David's mini books. And When You Want to Fit In, Hallie Takes a Stand by Paul Tripp. And this one is on peer pressure. And so we have always used mini books as a way to help people address a problem and apply the gospel and the scripture to that problem in a practical way. And I always wanted something like that for children. And this is what we have come up with. So each story features an animal family. And this is a hedgehog. In Paul's book, it's a hedgehog, Hallie Hedgehog. And each family goes through an issue. In this case, Hallie has to learn to stand up to a mean girl, a familiar problem, I have to say. But the other thing about these books that I really love is that there is a parent page at the back helping your child with, in this case, peer pressure, which just gives parents ways to talk to children about these issues. And in the back, the Bible verses that are shared are in tear-off pages, and so you can have them for your back pocket.
Yeah,
So that's my three.
Those are great. Those look like such good resources. Well, switching gears a little bit, shifting from kind of new resources to older ones, what's one like classic or backlist book that you think would be good for CCF attendees to read?
So keeping in mind that you are all coming to a CCF conference, I skipped our classic resources like How People Change and Depression and relationships, because I really think that most of you are familiar with them. So I decided to pick another series. We have a lot of series, and this is our small book series. So we have Ed Welch, a small book about a big problem, Meditations on Anger, Patience, and Peace. And he also did a small book for the anxious heart, which you can imagine that we were out of stock on that, but we just had it come in. And then Paul Tauchus did a small book for the hurting heart, Meditations on Loss, Grief, and Healing. And what these little books aim to do, they're hardback, so they're suitable for gifts. If you have the nerve to give somebody something about anger, maybe you should just give it to yourself. But in any case, they are 50 meditations. So, you can start with a mini book with folks and with yourself, but what if you want to take them on a longer journey? And these books allow you to do that. So I just thought I wanted to highlight them because I think they're useful both for you and for people that you might be interacting with.
Yeah, thank you. And since we can't be together at the conference, normally we would get to talk to people there in the bookstore. So, yeah, what's one thing you would want to say to people if you could be there?
So I think the thing that I'm going to miss most this year, and I think I'm speaking for all of us who usually go to the CCF conference, is just talking to people. And since I really love books, I'm really going to miss handing my books to people and watching them open them and love them too. One thing that I thought about was just what's it like to be in the middle of a pandemic and to have church in many cases virtual. Ours is half virtual, half not. Our small groups are still virtual, and we found that my husband's a pastor. We found it very challenging to do content in that kind of setting, in a virtual setting. So one thing that I thought of that I thought would be helpful is the Real Change, Becoming More Like Jesus in Everyday Life. It's a small group resource, and Real Change for Students. This resource was created by Andrew Nichols and Helen Thorne, and it was edited by David Powlison. It's based on his model of change from Dynamics of Biblical Change. It's a rich resource, but it's also short. There's 6 sessions, And it's just, I think, more doable in a virtual setting. And in particular, I just think, well, they're both very powerful because they both ask participants to go through a change project. um, I'm really excited about students and young adults doing real change for students. I think it could be and would be life changing for folks. So
Mm,
that is, I guess, and we're going to do a special promotion for these at the conference in conjunction with Westminster Books. So look for them.
great. And one final question. I know as the editorial director, probably all of the books are your babies, but if you could pick one book that you would want attendees at CCF to read, what would that be?
If I would actually say if I could pick one book that you could all pick up and hold and look through, and then you would certainly want to get, it would be this book, Wonderful, by Marty Machowski. Um, this is a book that's a companion book to Theology, and it takes adults and children on a journey through the Psalms. I'll just show you some of the artwork. Um, each psalm is addressed in this book, and each each book of the Psalms starts with a story, with a chapter and a story about a father and a grandfather and a grandson who are reading through the Psalms as they go through their own troubles. It is a wonderful way both to learn the Psalms, but even more importantly, to pray them and to see that God gives you words to pray and that He hears your words as you pray. So it's a beautiful book, and it's a wonderful devotional resource for families and fits right in with CCF's interest in applying the scripture to real life.
Thanks, Barbara. It's been great talking to you. I actually wish we had more time to talk with you about books, but that's it for now. But thanks again for being with us.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.